Hi everyone. I hope all of you guys are doing pretty good. I hope everybody's safe in this era of Omicron, and all of you guys are preparing well for your exams because we have term 2 already up ahead onto our heads, right? So there's a lot of things which have been going on, and recently CBSE launched the sample papers for term 2. Now I know a lot of you have been very skeptical about things about, oh my god, how it was term 1, which was MCQ, and how it was such a disastrous outcome, like how it was such a disastrous stage for us, because a lot of questions were out of the syllabus, a lot of people had wrong answer keys, and there were grace marks, there was a lot of drama involved, right? So to avoid that, the Indian government, CBSE, basically they went ahead with giving the sample papers for the term 2, right? Most importantly, the sample papers for the term 2 they gave this time were subjective. Right now, we'll be talking about, first of all, the syllabus. We'll be talking about the general instructions, and we'll be talking about the practical exams. We'll also be talking about the internal assessment, and afterwards, we'll be solving one of the sample papers that is there. Obviously, most of the questions would be biology questions because, hey, look at me, I'm the biology expert. And that reminds me, I should introduce myself. Hi, Shaswat. What sort of voice disturbance is there? So that reminds me, I should introduce myself. Hi, everyone. I'm Megha Kihlawat. I'm a biology expert here at askIITians, and I'm very happy to have you here with me, right? So I'm going to share my screen first of all. You guys would be looking at the presentation, right? And over here, we'd be talking about different sort of, as I told you, the instructions. And hi, Shriram, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I hope the same for you. Hi, Siddiq. Hi, Shaswat. Hi. Hello, ma'am. Hi, Anshri. Ma'am. Yeah, students are joining. Great. Hi, Asid. Siddiq, I'm fine. I hope you're doing good too. Yes, Sriram, I do. Hi, Manish. Hi, Parth. Hi, Janani. That's great. That's great. Hi. Nice seeing you again. You too, Ashley. Hi, Priyansh. Hey, Hannah. Anjali ma'am sent us all here. That's very sweet of her. Thank you. Hi, Lena. Hi, Alina. Hi, Tanya. Oh my God. How are you doing? Long time no see. Hello. Hi, Aruhi. I'm doing good too. I hope the same for you. She kept an extra class without realizing we had this session. It's okay, Siddiq. Hi, Sarthak. Hello, Rajesh. Yes, Siddiq. It's okay. Hi, Shamita. I am good, Janani. I hope you're doing good too. Hi, Shamita. I'm good. Hoping the same for you. All right. So I guess everyone's here and everyone can see the screen. Everyone is able to see the presentation, yeah? So there's some beep beep noise. Really, Shaswat? Hi, Rajesh. I'm good. I'm hoping the same for you. Hi, Shamita. Same here, Puja. Okay, guys, do you hear any, since the syllabus ended today, send them here, please continue. Thank you, Anshri, ma'am. That's really sweet. Right. So, as I was saying, do you guys hear any noise from my end? No, the sound's not disturbing. Okay. Might be my earphone or my headset, or however you want to call it. It's all right. Thank you. It's your headset. Yes, I sort of figured that out. Now let's just dig into this, okay? Let me just introduce everything to you again. Now, if you're talking about the term 2 of CBSE, most of you guys are aware about how CBSE has introduced the subjective papers for the term 2. Even the sample papers are out. We'll be discussing the biology part of those questions mostly. Okay, we'll be discussing about the syllabus, practical exams, and internal assessment, the general instruction. Then I'll also give you the extra book names which you can buy. Obviously, the askIITians books are more than enough. The modules, they have a lot of information, and if you just read the modules, that is fine as well. But if you want to go ahead and deal with extra book, you can go ahead with that as well, right? So that is completely up to you. You can prefer any whichever ones you're comfortable with, right? So moving ahead, first of all, we'll be talking about the points to be presented, as in, you know, what all points will be talking about. As I talked about these already, we'll be moving ahead with the general instructions first. Now, see, the one thing that you need to understand is that the total theory examinations would be term 1 plus term 2, right? And both the internal assessment as well. So we'll be having the theory marks of theory marks as 80, and we'll be having internal assessment marks as 20. Now, so if you guys are thinking, oh, that's completely fine, I'm just gonna score with the theory, I don't need internal assessment, and I don't like this teacher, or I don't like this subject, or I don't know, I don't want to do anything for the extra credits, or I don't want to do this project for the internal assessment, please just throw that thought out of your mind like really quick, okay? So because 20%, like 20 marks are a huge percentage, okay? Out of 100, it's literally 20% of your marks are into your teacher's hands. So make sure that you're not trialing any of them up. Okay, but jokes apart, you seriously need to go ahead with the internal assessment. We'll be talking about which projects for the internal assessments are to be expected as well, right? For each term, we have the internal assessment as the 10 marks, which is quite obvious, right? See, again, the assessment or the judging of your work, of your knowledge would be periodic, okay? It will be divided into different intervals rather than all of it at once. But then again, that also depends upon to the teachers, that also depends upon to the schools, right? How much ever the following or however they're marking the students, right? So we'll be having 3 periodic tests into the entire session for the students of that particular year, right? And average of those periodic tests would be taken. So whatever best average you get out of both the periodic tests, that would be considered as your term assessment, right? On top of that, your teacher wouldn't be just going ahead with the written test as your assessment. You'd be provided multiple chances. For example, they might give you a quiz, they might go ahead and take your projects, they can ask you to do co-curricular activities such as, you know, preparing the posters, or going ahead and making the flow charts, or the mind maps, or the concept maps, right? You might be asked to give the similar presentations that I am providing right now, right? Or they can give you projects or investigatory projects, right? Their investigatory projects, most of you must know, and for some of you it's a collectively new term. So investigatory projects are the ones for which you have to strive hard, okay? A second, for that you have to collect the actual data. You cannot just fish the data from the internet. You have to collect the actual data, and you have to work on to organizing and analyzing it. It's actually very fun if you do this, right? And then we have the subject enrichment in the form of practical and laboratory work. So this is especially for the 12th graders, obviously, but for the 10th graders as well, since you guys are going to move ahead into the laboratories, right? So you'll be conducting a lot of experiments for the practical examinations. For example, in biology, you'll be asked to either assess a situation, of course, a hypothetical one, or you guys would be asked to go ahead and watch or identify the specimens that there are, right? Or you could be asked to explain a experimental setup, or you can go ahead and do the experiment depending upon whatever experiment your teacher would be providing you. First, right? Next thing is, what would be your syllabus? Your syllabus, I think all of you are aware about, but the syllabus would be this. We'd be having the world of living. You get the how do organisms reproduce, and then there's heredity and evolution, then there's natural resources, there's our environment, and then there's a lot of things that there are, right? For internal assessment, you are going to get ahead with, hi Shani, I hope you're doing good. So for the internal assessment, You guys would be going ahead with the chapter Management of Natural Resources. This chapter is the easiest one, and I think you guys are so lucky that you got this chapter, because this is literally general knowledge. On top of that, you have studied this in your geography class as well. Yes, Janani, it's the most boring one, but then again, it is the one which you can make points in, right? And nobody can just tell you like, oh, it's not the specific one, oh, it's not a technical one. It just is very normal, right? So here, because the topic is management of natural resources, one thing that you might need to take care of is the different sort of new developments into the resources, energy sources, okay, new development into the awareness of people. So what the internal assessment, if let's say if they're putting up to you an investigatory project or a quiz, or let's say if they're asking you to make a mind map, or if they're asking you to let's say prepare an awareness lecture, they might want to engage you into the recent developments towards the awareness of people regarding the environmental uh, let's say conditions, or going ahead with the different sort of people waking up to the realities, right? So you might want to dig into that just a bit, not much, but just a bit, right? Moving on ahead about the practicals, it is very, very important for you to understand that the practicals that we would be going ahead with is in biology, the fission, the budding of yeast, hydra, amoeba. What you'll have to do, you'll just have to go ahead and recognize the already prepared permanent slides. Okay, for physics or chemistry, you might need to study the already set up experiment, or you might need to read you might need to note down the readings of a particular experiment, but that's about it. Okay, so you'll excuse me, you'll actually have to be very careful. You'll actually have to be very attentive. You'll have to be very what do we call it, what's the word of being extra sensitive towards something. So you'll have to be like super attentive about the practical projects, because the viva takers, they'll be checking your presence of mind, they'll be checking off how you have cautious. Yes, Sriram, thank you. That's not the word I was looking for, but that could be added to the dictionary. So yeah, thank you, cautious. So what I wanted to go ahead with the practical exams is just make yourself familiar with all the different sort of concepts that would be coming through for the experiments. Okay, just talk to your teachers, make sure you're very familiar with the slides, make sure you're very familiar with the experimental setups, make sure that you know how to calculate the readings, how you need to analyze the graphs, or how you need to plot the graphs. There's a lot of things surrounding that. Yeah. And the next thing is the assessment areas. It's very important for you. It's very dire, it's very crucial for you guys to understand that if we are talking about the assessment areas, our teacher is going to gauge your performance onto the basis of three parameters. We have the knowledge and understanding of the concept that is being taught in the class. We have the application, how you are applying it into an experiment, how you're applying it into your daily activity, how well you can give the example of that particular daily activity, and analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Basically, how you can go by and let's say analyze a particular experimental setup, or how can you analyze a situation if you're talking about the biology, let's say the chapter management of natural resources, or your daily chemistry in the ongoing life, right? So there's a lot of things. So first of all, you should know what the concept is. You should be very much, let's say, settled with the concept, and then you should know how you can apply the concept, how you can apply the theoretical knowledge that you've gained into the class in your daily life. And next is how, if you see anything in your surroundings, how you're going to analyze it, how you're going to study it, how you're going to perceive it, for that matter, right? Or if you're asked to let's say create an experimental setup, if you're capable of doing that or not, or if you're asked to evaluate a particular experimental setup, if you're capable of doing that or not. So those sort of things are the ones which will be assessed. test. Okay, so now that you know what your hurdles are, you should be easily prepared for running onto the ground, right? These are the prescribed books which I picked up from the CBSE website, right? So obviously you have a lot of things. Ma'am, I had one doubt related to term 1 and term 2. Is the weightage of each term 50-50, or will term 2 have more weightage? Term 2 obviously is going to have a little more weightage, right? Because, you know, present things, more weightage. But then again, it could be 40-60 most preferably. Earlier, it was into the discussion that the term 2 is going to have at least 80% advantage, term 1 is going to have 20% advantage, a 60-40 advantage. Now things are going ahead with the 50-50 percentage weightage. Most preferably term 2 might have a little more weightage, okay, because, you know, into the present scenario and everything. But if a lot of students get out of hand by not performing well into the term 2, then that might lead to the 50-50 weightage. So this one's the thing which is a little variable, okay, depending upon to the coronavirus situations and the students' performance and the turn up of the students onto the examination centers and a lot of those stuff, right? What you need to worry about is like performing well in your exams, and that's all. So I hope you guys have taken the screenshot of these here. Yes, no, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, cool. I don't know if you guys would be provided with the. I think you guys would be provided with the presentation as well. Yes, Janani. I think you guys would be able to get this presentation as well. So yeah, you can have these books later on noted down. Now let's just move to the sample question paper, term 2 for class 10. Yeah. All right, Ashani. Hi. Okay. So most importantly, go through all the general instructions. It's very important to understand. We have the questions is going to have about 3 sections and 15 questions. Section A is going to have 2 marks. Section B is going to have 3 marks each, and section C is going to 4 marks each questions. Yes, Janani, only 15 questions. It's important that you're able to solve those 15 questions. No, it's not sad. It's not sad. It's just, it's important that you're able to solve those 15 questions. Okay. So you will be getting 7 questions of 2 marks each, 6 questions of 3 marks each, and 2 questions of 4 marks each, right? So the questions would be somewhat like this. Let's say if we have the section A showing the table shows the electronic structures of the 4 elements, identify which element forms the covalent bonds, or carbon reacts with an element in the above table to form several compounds, give suitable reasons and all. Ma'am, do biovala questions. We'll do biovala questions only. I'm just giving you examples, Bacha. Okay. Just a side little tip for you people. Whenever you are into a conversation with somebody, do not just avoid using abbreviations. It doesn't set a very good image of yourself and all. No, I'm just normally saying that. You do not need to be sorry. So this is how the questions are going to be, right? Now remember, we'll be talking about how you will be evaluated onto the basis of the answers that you write. For example, let's say this is 3rd question. This is of the biology. Trace the path a male gamete takes to fertilize a female gamete after being released from the penis, right? And the second part of this question is state the number of sets of chromosomes present in a zygote. Now listen to me very carefully, because the 3rd question is of 2 marks and it has 2 parts. That means we have 1 mark each for for every part. And the first part sort of looks like a bigger question because it has a series of steps. Always make flow charts in such sort of questions so that it is easier for you to understand. It's easier for you to make the flow charts. It's easier for the examiner to understand your answer, and as easy as you make your answer to be understood, you'll be getting marks very easily as well. Testis, epididymis, vas deferens, urethra, penis, cervix, vagina, uterus, fallopian tube. Very good. So the male gamete travels in the female reproductive tract after being released, right? So let me just break down the marks for you here. The path which it takes to fertilize the female gamete is vagina. Okay, first thing, half marks. Uterus, half mark. Fallopian tube, half marks. And that results into the zygote, right? Alternatively, if you want to label everything like the guided testis, epididymis, vas deferens, etc., 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 you're going to get marks. Okay, just make sure that you're. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Janani. By the student. Okay. So make sure that you are mentioning the words, you're mentioning the keywords. Ma'am, can you send the Zoom link? Sure. I don't know if I can. Shani, Ashutosh, which batch are you in? Maybe the students can help you there. Chandra P 101. Who is in Chandra P 101? So the sperm should start from the testis, and this answer is right. Yes, Ashika, this answer is right. Ma'am, it should be in the sentences. No, sentences are not compulsory. Just make a flow chart and underline the words if you're making the sentences. If you're underlining the keywords and if you're making a flow, or if you're making a flow chart, you can go ahead with that. Janani, which I'm looking at the YouTube from my phone and I'm taking the Zoom this webinar onto the laptop. Yes. So can somebody send the link on Chandra? Oh yeah. Can thank you, Shant. Right? Anyway, next thing that we have is the second part of the question. How many sets of chromosomes does the zygote has? Very easy. Very super easy. It has 2 sets of chromosomes. No, don't mention 46, 23. Do not mention 46 or 23. Understand the question. It is asking how many sets of chromosomes a zygote has. It has 2 sets. Okay. I want the participation of a lot of people over here. I would write 2 sets having 46 chromosomes. Yeah, Vicha, that is fine as well. Just make sure that you're exactly no risk. Just make sure that you're going ahead with the keywords, right? Right. So next thing that we have is Rajesh observed. Ma'am, saans to le lo. Sorry. Don't worry, I'm breathing just fine. I'm breathing just fine, but I'm breathing just fine. Don't worry about it. So, okay, I'll just go a little slow here. So Rajesh observed a patch of greenish black powdery mass on a stale piece of bread. So if you are observing any sort of powdery mass on a stale piece of bread, it is always a fungus. Okay. In most cases, it is Aspergillus niger, right? Very good, Aruhi. Very good, Chinani. Right. Very good, Ashmita. Very good, Trishti. Hey, Trishti.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good, but I'm good. Rhizopas, sure, Shashwat. Rhizopas can be there as well. Aspergillus niger is also the sort of fungus, like bread fungus that is there. Rhizopas is there. Rhizopas can be the correct answer as well. Okay, so like both are correct answers. You can choose either of those. So I am very good. Okay, Shan, that's great. So I am very happy that you guys are this enthusiastic about giving the answers. We'll still discuss the answers. Okay. So the first thing is name the organism responsible for this and its specific mode of asexual reproduction. Very good, Aruhi. So we have the organisms responsible for this is rhizopus. Specific mode of asexual reproduction is spore formation, right? Name its vegetative parts and reproductive parts. Now listen, moving ahead with the, yes, hypha or the thread-like structures that it uses to settle down into the bread and to draw the nutrition. Those are the hypha. Those are the ones which are the vegetative parts because they are not participating into the reproduction. And the reproductive parts are the sporangia. Yes, sporangium, sporangia, one and the same thing. Okay, sporangium is the singular part and sporangia are the plural part. Okay, both count for the half marks each. Make sure to write the keywords and to underline them. Okay, you need to draw the figure. No, there is no requirement of drawing the figure here. It's just a 2 marks question. You do not need to draw the figure, but you definitely need to underline the keywords. This is a very let's say it's a very foolproof way of attempting a paper. Okay, like it should be point wise, it should have bullet points, it should have bullet points, the specific word should be underlined, the specific sentences should be underlined. It should always be neat and clean. Even if your handwriting is not that good, completely fine. Just make sure you're making as less cuttings as you can. Okay, and it should be properly organized, as in there should be a proper space in between the questions and it shouldn't be haywire or haphazard, right? Now moving on to the next question. Mustard was growing in 2 fields, A and B. So we have a mustard growing into the 2 fields. Okay, I'm sorry, but I cannot enable the rename option. It's not there, right? So like it hasn't been, the Zoom has been recalibrated by the askIITians, so we don't have that. So mustard was growing in 2 fields, A and B. While field A produced brown colored seeds, field B produced yellow colored seeds. Cool. It was observed that in field A, which had brown colored seeds, the offspring showed only parental trait for consecutive generations. So if a generation is there and it is showing only parental traits for multiple generations, that basically shows that that particular what we call it, those particular generations, they are going ahead with either asexual reproduction, which is ensuring that, or they are pure line, okay, or they are homozygous. 3 things can be there. Okay, yes, Drishti, yes. Okay, Shan, can we say A is reproducing asexually and B is sexually for this as the answer? Sure, you can go ahead with that, but let me just read out the entire question to make sure what the answer should be. Yeah, always read the entire question to make sure what you should write as the answer, or it will be a silly mistake. And trust me, I'll be very mad at you if you make silly mistakes after all the hard work of your teachers. Okay, I was complicating this. It's okay, let's just go ahead with that. So it was observed that in field A, the offspring showed only the parental trait for consecutive generations, where in the field B, majority of the offspring showed a variation in the progeny, right? That just clears out one thing, that the A, it either is going ahead with the asexual reproduction or self-pollination, or it is going ahead with the, both of these things. Ma'am, can we say that field A is going through self-pollination and field B is going through cross-pollination? Yes, Shant. Let me read the entire question first. The field B, majority of the offspring showed a variation in the progeny. Okay. What are the probable reasons for this? Absolutely correct, Shant. So if any of the let's say mustard or any of the organism is showing the parental trait, it is basically the self-pollination or their pure line or their homozygous. Cloning can also be the answer. Yes, Janani, absolutely. And for the bee, offspring showing a variation of progeny, that basically means they're going through the sexual reproduction, which is also the cross-pollination to ensure that all the different sort of alleles and all the different sort of variations are coming through. Is this question clear to everybody? Yes? Amazing. Moving on to the next one. Okay, good to go. Great. Or there's another option over here. In an asexually reproducing species, if a trait X exists in 5% of a population and trait Y exists in 70% of the same population, which one of the two traits is likely to have arisen earlier? This is a very straightforward question. It just is telling you if one of the characteristic is there in the 5%, another one is there in the 70%, which one of these two came first? It's quite obvious that the trait Y came first. Yes, absolutely correct. Trait Y came first. And what is the probable reason? Trait Y is a dominant trait. Absolutely correct. Okay. What else? What else? Give me more. Think in the terms of asexual and sexual reproduction as well. Think. The dominant trait is always seen in the F1 generation. Yes. X underwent through evolution. No. Y could be recessive and ratio. No, do not move into the heredity part. No, do not move into the heredity part. Go ahead with the sexual or asexual reproduction over here. Okay, you see that Y is already existing into the same population, and give reason how Y spread into the population like this much. How asexual reproduction, less variations are there. Absolutely. Y went through asexual reproduction. Very good. There you go. You guys are amazing. That's amazing. Okay. So we have the Y going through the population with the help of asexual reproduction, because it is already present in the 70% of the population, right? That's like a huge chunk of population, right? And then we have the X. Why did the X spread only into the 5% of the population? Like, why do we have X? Basic structure. Hey, Ruthik, basic structural design of the organism. Hold up. Of the F1 generation is passed on to the subsequent generation. That's good. But then again, you're live streaming on YouTube. Yes, Ruthik, I'm aware of that. Thank you so much for stating the fact of this fact. But okay. Ma'am, क्या आप selected logo को hi बोल रहे हो? No, Suresh, I'm saying hello to everyone. Ma'am, but how is asexual reproduction is related to which trait has arisen earlier? It is not related to which trait has arisen earlier. It is related to how did this trait went into such huge chunk of population. So there are two parts to this question. First part is which one arose, like which one arise earlier, which one did arise earlier. So we have the first one, that is the Y one. Now, how is it present into the huge chunk of population? A, because of time. B, it couldn't have been into such big part of the population if it wasn't for the asexual reproduction, because if it would have been a dominant or a recessive trait, things would have changed, right? It would have evolved. So that is why. I hope this is clear to everybody. Clear. We're moving forward to the next question. Boys and girls.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Whereas X went through, very good, ma'am. Also because same population. Yes, Arish, is service was the cross position. It's not about being faster or slower. It's about being sure and unsure. Self-pollination is sure. Cross-pollination is it's basically a matter of chance. Okay. Self-pollination. I think I taught you guys about the clistogamous, chasmogamous flowers. New variation. Yes, Srishti. Okay. What, Janani, were you in my batch? I think I taught you, like, I taught my students about the clistogamus and chasmogamus flowers. Okay. No, not to worry about anything. I'll teach you now. Okay, there's no need to worry about anything. So there are two types of flowers. We have two type of flowers into the several plants. We have the clistogamous flowers and we have the chasmogamous flowers. So clistogamous flowers are the ones where they never bloom. They always are closed, okay? And whenever they're closed, right, both the stigma and anther mature inside the flower only, and because they're closed, the pollination occurs inside the flower only, so it's very sure to have the seeds. Yes, self. And chasmogamous is when they're blooming and they're like out in the open there for the chances. Yeah. Okay, no worries, no worries, no worries. So we'll be moving ahead to the next question. Let's find out next question, boys and girls. Okay, there you go. DDT was sprayed in a lake to regulate breeding of mosquitoes. Everyone knows that DDT was used into the earlier times, but now it's not anymore. How would it affect the trophic levels in the following food chain associated with the lake? Justify your answer. Very good, Arohi. Very good, very good. So when we are talking about, very good, Ruthik. Yes, Trishti, absolutely correct. So we are basically talking about how a particular poison, the DDT, is traveling up to the food chain, okay, and in how much amount it will be present, okay. So DDT, it will pollute the water, which will further harm the animals and disturb the chain. Yes, that is correct as well. So if you, let's talk about this, okay. So we have the DDT, which was taken up by the mosquitoes, which was taken up by the small fishes, and it also polluted the aquatic environment, okay. Yes, Ruthik, right? Then this plankton, which grows into the aquatic environment, plankton as they are basically the algae, they were eaten by the small fish. So let's say one plankton has about 5% and one small fish eats about 10 plankton. So one small fish is going to have 10% of the DDT, right? And then one large fish eats 10 small fishes. It's like 100% of the DDT. And a hawk is eating 10 large fishes. So that's like 1000% of DDT. So you see the poison amount is increasing at every subsequent trophic levels, harming the organisms, right? I hope this is clear to everybody. Yes, Ronnie, that's correct as well. Or we can have the next one. In the following food chain, sure. In the following food chain, vertical arrows indicate the energy lost to the environment and horizontal arrows indicate energy transferred to the next trophic level. Which one of the three vertical arrows, A, C, E, and which of the two horizontal arrows, B and D, will represent more energy transfer? Give reason for your answers. For this question, I hope everybody remembers their law of energy, right? That only about 10% of energy is passed on and rest is lost in your breathing, existing, doing activities, right? Ma'am, A and B will have the highest energy. All right, Trishti. C. A will represent the more energy transferred as compared to C and E. First point. B will represent more energy transferred as compared to D. Second point. Okay. Now, when the green plants are eaten by the primary consumers, a lot of energy is, lost to the environment, right? As heat or the transfer energy or anything. Yes, Janani, I said yes, Shan, that is correct as well, right? Let's just discuss the question for the sake of other students as well. Now, see, it might go into the digestion, it might go into the reproduction, it might go into the running away from the predators. So there's a lot of things. Okay, so average of 10% of energy from the food is going to be passed on to the next level of the food chain, right? This loss of energy takes place at every single trophic level. That is why there are only about 4 to 5 trophic levels in the food chain. And alternatively, you can just mention the 10% law of the energy as well. Are we clear about this? Are we clear about
Yes,
this,
ma'am.
everyone? Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Great, bacha, great, great. Let's move on to the section B where every question, 6 questions are there. Each one of is of 3 marks. So we'll be moving ahead. Finding the biology. There we go. 2 pea plants, one with yellow round seeds and another with wrinkled green seeds, produce F1 progeny that have round yellow seeds. One thing, third law of Mendel, law of segregation, law of independent assortment. And we have the dihybrid cross. That means 2 characteristics are going to be considered at the same time with 4 alleles. Okay. Ma'am, so we can just state the 10% law as the reason for the previous question. Yes, Shant, and that will give you all the marks. 9 is to 9 is to, yes, Shunani, that's correct. Do we need to mention the name of the Mendel laws? Well, if you do, great. You can leave 0 chance of error there. Okay. If you don't, that's fine. Just focus on to what is asked in that particular question, right? So when F1 plants are self-pollinated with new combinations of characters is expected into the F2 progeny. We just have to mention the 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1 ratio. How many seeds with these new combination of characters will be produced when a total of 160 seeds are produced in the F2 generations? Explain the reason. First of all, if you are talking about that, if you're talking about this progeny and the chances and everything, make sure that you're calculating everything. We have 160 seeds. Yes, Tunani, that's absolutely correct. Okay. So we have about 160 seeds and we are asked how many seeds with these new combinations. New combinations we are talking about. New combination is going to be your round green and yellow wrinkled. Okay. So that is a new combination. Now, which out of these would be produced? Now, listen to me very, very carefully. The original ratio was 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. 9 yellow round, 3 yellow wrinkled, 3 round green, and 1 green wrinkled. Okay, so 3, 3, and we have 160 seeds. That means we have 30 each. Okay, 16 progenies, 3, 3 each, 160 progenies, 30, 30 each. It's a straight question. Okay, it's like the straight questions. Straight question. And what will you give as the reason? Just say that because we have the inheritance of the new alleles, new characters independently. So they are going to assort according to the chances. They are going to assort according to the alleles that are present. So we're going to get these. I heard seed synthesis. This is the law of independence. Yes, Shanani. So they are going to make these new characteristics, right? So we just draw the flowchart of the generations. Yes, Ruthik, you can draw the flowchart of the generations and that's going to be absolutely fine too. So we clear about this?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, we'll be moving forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now that we're good to go, we'll be moving ahead. Good to go, great, great. Okay. All right, moving ahead. So sorry for that. So now that we are going to move to the next question, I think we have only about these many questions for biology. But we have one more. No, bacha, we have one more. Gas A found in the upper layers of the atmosphere is deadly poison, but it is essential for all living beings. The amount of this gas started declining sharply in 1980s. I think this is the easiest question that you've encountered. Absolutely correct. All of you are correct. Amazing. You guys are amazing. Great. Very good. Very good. So it's the ozone gas. Okay. So identify the gas A, ozone, full marks there. How is it formed at the higher levels of the atmosphere? Now that's a trick question because you'll have to mention all the, yes, O3, that's correct, but you'll have to mention how it is made, okay? So for that, you'll have to tell that it is made with the help of the free oxygen molecules reacting with each other and forming the unstable O3 molecule. Yes, Braj, absolutely. Oh, hi, Braj, you're also here. My God, we have a lot of older students as well. Hi, Ipsil. Okay, so we have the, first of all, we have the oxygen molecule, and then we have the UV radiations right there. And the UV radiations are going to help combine O2 gas with another oxygen free element, and that is going to lead to the formation of the unstable compound, that is the O3 or the poisonous gas that we have there. Yeah. Yes, absolutely correct, Pacha. So the B part of the question is, why is it essential for all living beings? Because it basically saves us from the ultraviolet radiations and say the cause of the depletion of the gas. I think we started studying that in the 4th grade, but I'll just mention again. Mention the specific words such as chlorofluorocarbons. First and foremost, and the most biggest of the culprit, chlorofluorocarbons are the ones which are going here. Yes, CFCs, right? Now, where are they coming from? They're coming from the fire extinguishers, they're coming from the refrigerators, they're coming from the aerosols, and all of them are leaking into the air up above, and that is basically leading to the depletion of the ozone gas. Yeah. Yeah. Now moving ahead with the C-section, right? So C-section is going to have a yes, Nani. Can we say Halon fire extinguishers also? Ashika, I've not read about the Halon fire extinguishers, but next time if I read about more, we'll discuss. Okay, ma'am, we also have to give the formula for the formation of O3. Yes. Mention the formula, mention the flow charts, mention the diagrams, underline the specific words. That will be your savior for the marks, I'm telling you. Okay, as easy as you make it for the examiner, they're going to skim through your entire paper really fast, and then they're going to help you get the marks super easily. I'm telling you. Okay, this is how we check the marks. Next thing that we have is the section C, which is going to have about 2 questions with 4 marks each. Okay, so what we have here is, okay, ma'am, so we have to give diagrams for 3 mark questions also. Absolutely. Make sure that you're giving the diagram for the 3 marks questions. If not a diagram, you're at least providing a flow chart. If not a flow chart, you're at least writing a formula. You're just doing something extra. Okay. Sahil performed an experiment to study the inheritance of patterns of genes. Okay. He crossed tall pea plants with short pea plants and obtained all tall plants in the F1 generation. So we are talking about the first law of the Mendel law of dominance here. Okay, and we're talking about the F1 generation with all the hybrids which gave the phenotype as tall, right? So question A, which is of 1 mark, is what will be the set of genes present in the F1 generation since they're hybrid? Yes, absolutely. It will be a uppercase T and a lowercase t, right? Absolutely. Very good. Very good. Now give reasons why only tall plants are observed in the F1 progeny. Very good, Shinani. That's great. Yes, Drishti. Very good. So when we're talking about, right, so traits like the uppercase T are called the dominant traits. Okay, you have to explain what is a dominant trait. You'll have to explain what is a recessive trait. You'll have to explain how in the heterozygous condition we have the assertion of the dominant trait over the recessive trait. You have to clearly mention everything over here and make sure that you're writing the specific words. I'm telling you time and again because you guys do silly mistakes. Okay, just make sure that you're doing that. Yeah. And the next thing that we have is C part. When F1 plants are self-pollinated, a total of 800 plants were produced. Right. Okay. So we have the F1 plants, and mind it, we are moving to the second law of Mendel over here. That is the law of segregation or the law of purity of gametes. Okay. So the F1 plants were self-pollinated. A total of 800 plants were produced. How many of these would be tall, medium height, or short plants? Give the genotype of the F2 generation. First of all, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. First of all, there are no medium plants. As the law states, law of purity of gametes. That means none of the gamete is going to mix with each other at all. If it is a recessive gamete, it is going to wait for its turn till it is into the homozygous condition, and then it is going to express itself. So the ratio would be 600 to 200 plants, where the 600 plants would be tall, 200 plants would be small. No plants would be of the medium size. Rajesh, okay. So what we are going to have is the capital T as the 600 plants, and like not 600 plants, sorry, as 400 plants, and then we are going to have capital T and small case t, and then we are going to have the both small case t's, right? Now that we are clear with this, we are going to move ahead with the, I always mix up F2 with dihybrid. Good to go. Okay, no medium, only tall. Ratio 3:1, tall 600, short 200. Very good, Shan. Right? Now moving ahead with the next or part. When F1 plants are cross-pollinated. Now remember, F1 plants are cross-pollinated. Okay, with who? With the plants having the small case TGs. That means this is a back cross. Okay, this is a test cross or a back cross where the F1 generation is being crossed with the parental pure line homozygous generation, and a total of 800 plants are produced there as well. Okay, now how many of these would be tall, medium, or the short plants? And you have to give the genotype. No medium, 4 tall, 400. Yes, Janani, absolutely correct. Okay, we always have 1:1 ratio in the back cross or the test cross for that matter, and because it is 1:1 ratio, that means equal number of tall and equal number of short plants would be produced, right? Yes, it will be a hybrid tall and homozygous short plants. Okay, make sure that you're mentioning the cross, you're writing the specific words, you're mentioning the breakdown of the number of plants. Make sure you're writing everything underneath, that this one's the tall, this one's the short, this one's the homozygous, this one's the heterozygous. Yes, Sashika, make sure that you're making the complete thing. Okay, like the complete thing. Are we clear? Ma'am, there would be zero medium. Yes, there is always zero medium height. There's always zero medium height. Every single time, every, like, you know, somebody asks you if it's like the tall, medium, or short plants. No, it's always tall and the short plants. There's never medium. Medium and like medium plants are triggering you, ma'am. Because I know even now some of you would be writing there are medium height plants. No, there are no medium height plants. Do you understand? Am I clear? Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now that will be all, and it was fun being with you people, okay? And I hope this session was informative and we practiced and I enjoyed it with you people, okay? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You guys take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have fun, stay safe. Will there be such sessions for the other science subjects? I hope so. You're welcome. Ma'am, is it necessary to give homozygous and heterozygous within the names? No, not necessary if you're mentioning the pure line or hybrid. Okay?
Ma'am, can you explain the 50-50 thing that you just said?
Sure, Bacha, sure. If you're going ahead with the test cross is the back cross where, just to ensure the type of traits that are inherited into a particular plant, we always cross the F1 generation with the recessive parent. Okay, so there you're going to obtain 1:1 ratio. You're going to obtain the dominant part and the recessive part in the equal amounts. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, in the like
Phenotypically.
all part, the like ratio would be 3:1, right? If we
Yeah.
crossed it. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. You guys take care. Have fun. Bye.